הנשיא דונלד ג'יי טראמפ.
But I happen to like this gentleman right over here, and it just seems to make so much sense. You know, whether we like it or not, this has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. This has been one of the greatest wartime presidents. And cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that?
Well, on the topic of hostages, someone who knows plenty about exchanges is the former hostage negotiator and co-founder of Forward Thinking, Oliver McTurnan. Oliver, thank you so much for your time this morning. Have you any concerns about how the exchange was or is being handled?
Well, no, I think the easy part of this whole event, you might say, is the exchange of the hostages. I think there'll probably be difficulty, as Hamas has already expressed, in finding the corpses of some of the dead hostages, and one has empathy for their families in that situation. I think the great relief at the moment is that the 2.2 million people in Gaza have relief from endless bombing and a nightmarish existence. So hopefully that will be there for some time to come, and hopefully it is an end to the war. But to be honest, I would have real questions about that.
Oliver, 1,900 Palestinian prisoners went the other way. What would have been the process for that? How would that have been worked out in terms of who got released?
Well, that is always a long process, and I understand that several of the people that Hamas and other factions would have liked to seen released hadn't been, and those are what they call prisoners with blood on their hands, people who were convicted for killing Israelis. The majority of the people there would have been no problem with, because they were probably being held in prison without trial. So it would have been easier for the Israelis to have released them. And of course, all that are released into the West Bank can be picked up at any moment again, as we had happened in the Shalit case. 52 of the long-term prisoners who were released in the Shalit deal were picked up and re-imprisoned by Israel when they felt things weren't going as they had planned.
So you suspect, as part of the overall intelligence picture now, at least on part of the Mossad or Israeli agencies, that those prisoners, if you like, who have been released, they'll be watched closely moving forward?
Yes, they'll never be sure that they won't be picked up again and imprisoned. And that, I remember at the time of the Shalit deal, advising that no one should stay in the West Bank, because although I trusted the negotiators, I said politicians change and political figures change, and it'll be a political decision whether you are imprisoned again or not. So my advice then was that everyone should have moved out of Israeli jurisdiction.
Oliver McTurnan, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.